Hey everyone, today we're going to take a look at and compare two popular sleeping pads on the market today. One from Thermarest and one from Sea to Summit. We have the Thermarest Neoair Xtherm and the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI. It can be hard to decide what sleeping pad is right for you, but hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a better idea. If you're interested in either one of these sleeping pads and you want to learn more, we've done full-length video reviews and you can find the links to those in the description below. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ben and I'm part of the team here at The Adventure Junkies, where we help people like you choose the right gear to get outdoors. If you want to learn more, visit our website at www.theadventurejunkies.com. Now, on to what you're really here for. Let's compare the Thermarest Neoair Xtherm and the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI. Let's start with the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI. The SI stands for self-inflating. It is a self-inflating style sleeping pad. It uses open cell foam along with air to provide a very stable night's sleep. And it comes with a stuff sack and repair kit. So now the Neoair Xtherm from Thermarest is one of the heavy hitters in the ultralight sleeping pad category for sure. It is one of the warmest and lightest weight sleeping pads, cold weather pads available on the market today. It comes with a stuff sack, inflation sack, and patch kit. All right, before we jump into specs and things like that, let's go ahead and get these inflated and talk about how well they inflate, and we can compare and contrast that. Before we do that, I just want to say we as in me, I've spent many nights on both of these pads, and before we do these videos, we make sure we pack them back up and we keep the boxes and pack it back into the boxes. As you can see, I just wanted to say, I'm not able to pack the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI back into its original packaging, and there's a reason for that. It might be hard to tell on camera, but the maybe third time we put this back in its stuff sack, the stuff sack just split. This is much harder to pack back up than the Neoair Xtherm, but we're not quite there yet. Let's talk about inflation. All right, since we're on the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI, let's go ahead and inflate it. Covered in the intro, but the SI stands for self-inflating. It is a self-inflating style pad. So the self-inflating style pads never fully self-inflate. They just sort of allow air into their foam interiors and the foam expands. So let's talk about this valve here. As you may or may not have been able to hear, when I pulled this top piece of the Sea to Summit valve open, it started to let a little air in there. It actually shouldn't, because this is the one-way valve, but if we want to inflate, you take off the inner valve. Now you can really hear air entering the pad, but we don't have all day. This will inflate on its own a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and blow air into it because I do not have time to wait for it. When it comes time to inflate this by hand with your lungs, you want to close this first part of the valve. This is a one-way valve. It allows air in and not air out. Okay, it's nice and firm. Not awesome. If I were to be camping with this, I would leave the valve open and let it inflate by itself a little more while I do everything else around camp, and I would do this last. But you're still going to have to finish it off with a few breaths, and that's consistent across the entire self-inflating sleeping pad category. You do not have to think that this is unique to this pad. It's not. And this pad is no better or worse about inflating on its own. So now we have the Thermarest Neoair Xtherm. Now the inflation process for this is completely different because it is an inflatable style pad. They both take air, but the self-inflating uses an open cell foam on the interior, whereas this is uses more air and reflective film for insulation rather than a true insulation. So with the Thermarest, you also have a one-way valve. The valves are different. One doesn't work better than the other. This is nice because it is easy to adjust. The Sea to Summit is nice because it's easy to adjust firmness. This is the wing lock valve system. This is a newer valve system for Thermarest. It works okay, but I always have a hard time locking the inflation sack in place. I'm getting used to it. and it's getting easier. But if you've never used an inflation sack, the way this works, you blow into it from 6 to 12 inches away. Yep, like that. You pump your air right on in. All right. So I don't know if you heard that. You have to remember to close the wings on the wing lock system when you're inflating this pad. Or it is a two-way valve instead of a one-way valve. And you want it to be a one-way valve so you can put air in without losing air. So just make sure that you have the valve turned, the wings of the valve turned clockwise. It will allow air into the pad without allowing air out of the pad. So we've got them inflated. If you ask me, neither pad is really easier or harder to inflate than the other. Maybe the Xtherm takes a little longer because it requires the pump sack. Just the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI requires a little more lung power, and that's going to be true for any self-inflating style mat versus an inflatable mat. Just more air. All right, so in terms of price, these pads really aren't that close. They're a full $100 apart. The Xtherm falls into what we would consider the premium price category. Pretty expensive, a full $100 more at $229.95, while the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI retails for $129.95. So, what do you get for that extra $100? Well, one of those benefits is weight savings. The Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI weighs 22.9 ounces or 650 grams. The Xtherm, however, weighs almost 8 ounces less at 15 ounces or 430 grams. All right, now let's talk about R-value. If you're not familiar with R-value is a unit of measurement that sleeping pad manufacturers can use that's a standard that helps them rate how warm or how well insulating their sleeping pads are. So the higher the R-value, the warmer or better insulating the pad is, basically. Usually for winter camping, you want an R-value of 5+. So the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI has an R-value of 3.1. That's going to be a solid 3-season rating across the board. If you're a warm sleeper, you might be able to stretch it into the shoulder season, into the colder seasons even. The Xtherm, however, is off the charts compared to the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI. The Xtherm has an R-value of 6.9, making it a proper 4-season cold weather sleeping pad. Very warm, maybe, at least twice as warm as the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI. So yeah, there really isn't even much of a comparison there. All right, material and quality. Both Sea to Summit and Thermarest make their products from really nice materials. They use good lamination processes. They also have lifetime warranties against delaminations and defects, so no worries there. The Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI is made from a 30 denier polyester on the outside with an open cell foam on the inside. The Thermarest Xtherm has a 30 denier ripstop nylon on the top and a 70 denier on the bottom. So something a little more robust on the bottom. And they use a triangular core matrix, which is like a reflective film, keeps warm air up, cold air down. That's what they use as a insulation on the inside. And as I said, both pads come with a lifetime warranty against manufacturer defects. Let's do dimensions. Don't know if you can tell, but they are pretty much the same. So both pads come in a variety of sizes. This is the regular size of both pads, and that comes in the mummy shape that you see here, meaning wider at the shoulders, tapers off down near the feet. The dimensions are 72 inches or 183 centimeters long and 20 inches or 51 centimeters wide. All right, so let's talk about packability. We saw both of these pads packed up, and we will actually pack them back up towards the end of the video. But we saw them packed up at the beginning of the video. And when it comes to packability, it's really not even close. This Thermarest Neoair Xtherm is about half the size of the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI when they're all packed up. It's also much easier to pack up the Xtherm. It dumps air really quickly. You can roll this up and pack it in its stuff sack and hit the trail in no time. We had constant issues packing up the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI. I think the stuff sack that comes with it is actually just too small. We split ours on maybe the third time of use, and I think Sea to Summit will take care of us. They have a really good warranty. I'm not too worried about that, but it is just a little annoying that the stuff sack is so small that you have to struggle that much to get the pad back into it. All right, so let's talk about comfort. In general, I find self-inflating sleeping pads to be more comfortable than inflatable sleeping pads. And that's usually just because they have a foam interior. It creates a more comfortable night's sleep, more stable night's sleep, usually. But let's take a look at thickness. So the Comfort Light SI is 2 inches or 5 centimeters thick. The Xtherm is 2.5 inches or 6.4 centimeters thick. And I'll say that I find the Sea to Summit to be more stable, definitely. With these horizontal baffles on the Neoair Xtherm, when you get to the edges, or when I get to the edges, I do feel like I lose stability and push air to one side of the mat. That does not happen with the Comfort Light SI. And I didn't really have any problems bottoming out with my shoulder or my hip on either pad. So both are comfortable sleeping pads, but I do think the Sea to Summit is just a little more stable. So let's talk about the feel of the materials. There's no way around it. The Neoair Xtherm is noisy. It doesn't feel particularly nice. That's one of the big knocks on this pad, is just the noise. Now, Sea to Summit Comfort Light. Nice and quiet. Pretty soft to the touch. So I do like the material of the Comfort Light SI, and I do appreciate how quiet it is. So yeah, warmth. We already talked about R value, and R value is directly related to warmth, but just to kind of circle back to that, the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI has an R value of 3.1, making it a solid 3-season sleeping mat, while the Neoair Xtherm knocks it out of the ballpark with an R value of 6.9. 6.9 is a proper 4-season cold weather sleeping pad, and when you sleep on one of these, you'll almost be surprised how warm it is. And that was much appreciated in the backcountry, it really was. So, Neoair Xtherm, clear winner in the warmth category. Let's talk about ease of inflation and deflation real quick. You already saw me inflate it, and you'll see me deflate it. Again, the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI, not super hard to inflate. It is not easy to deflate, and it is even harder to fit back in its stuff sack. We ripped the stuff sack on the third use, trying to get the pad back into the stuff sack. So that is a bummer. The Thermarest Neoair Xtherm, very easy to inflate, very easy to deflate. Because of the triangular core matrix on the interior of this pad, you do have to do what we call a pre-roll. You just got to roll it to get all the air out before you fold it up and roll it up to put it away in its stuff sack. And that's just because of the design of the inside of the sleeping pad. So when it comes to the valve systems here, both of these pads have pretty different valve systems. The Neoair Xtherm uses the Thermarest's wing lock valve system, which is new. They use these on a lot of their pads now. And it works okay, especially for inflation. For deflation though, what I find, if you need to adjust the firmness of the pad, this is not the easiest way to do it. It works, but it's not my favorite valve system. It's a little tricky to get the inflation sac seated correctly on the valve. That's my biggest gripe. But it works. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So now let's look at the Sea to Summit valve system here. This is what I tend to think of as a more traditional valve system. If you take the first cover off, you have, this is a one-way valve. So if you blow air into it, air's not going to come back out. And it has a little push. You push in the center and you can adjust firmness very easily like that. And I do like that. And then if I were to take this second valve, open that second part of the valve, it would dump the air. Or most of it. I actually like the Sea to Summit valve better. I think it's just a little more seamless, a little more modern. Maybe not a little more modern, but it just seems to work a little better. All right, I just want to go over real quick how easy or hard it is to pack both of these sleeping pads up and get them ready. So let's start with the Xtherm. Okay, to deflate, you gotta turn the first valve counterclockwise, then turn the wings on the wing lock counterclockwise, and you can hear it dump the air. I like to give this one a pre-roll, but because of the design of Thermarest's triangular core matrix, it holds air a little bit, so that pre-roll is necessary. Okay, and we just fold this one up. Usually just take the stuff sack, or excuse me, the inflation sack, and just put it in the center there. You don't even bother folding it up. When you roll this up, the two halves do tend to want to pull away from each other a little bit. Should go back in its stuff sack, no problem. All right, nice and easy. Now, Comfort Light SI. Pull one plug, pull two plugs. You can feel it dumping air there. So this one, you're gonna want to get folded in half, but it's gonna fight you on it, and that's because of the foam on the inside. And this is one you want to grip it nice and tight. Okay. Whew. And then you're going to want to put the plug back in that so it doesn't start re-inflating. And yeah, as you can see, okay, well luckily, because I put that valve in place, it didn't start re-inflating on me. I just have to wind it back up, roll it back up, and this doesn't do much anymore, but cinch that down a little bit to help keep it in place. Now, size, it's not even really close. This is a standard 32-ounce water bottle. You can kind of see the difference there. So just to kind of wrap things up here with the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI and the Thermarest Neoair Xtherm sleeping pads. The Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI costs significantly less, $100 less, and retails for $129, while the Thermarest can be picked up for $229.95. Now, that extra $100 will get you something though. It'll get you a bunch of weight savings. The Xtherm weighs in at 15 ounces or 430 grams, and the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI weighs in at 22.9 ounces or 650 grams. Both of these pads are pretty comfortable. I don't even know if I necessarily consider one more comfortable than the other. I will say that the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI, because it is a self-inflating pad and it has open cell foam on the inside, it provides a more stable night's sleep. The Xtherm, possibly due to the horizontal baffles and just the overall design, when you get towards the edge, like if I roll towards the edge of this pad, it does seem unstable and it does push air back to the other side of the pad, rocks me back and forth. When it comes to warmth, there's really no contest here. The Thermarest Neoair Xtherm has an R value of 6.9, earning it a true cold weather rating. This is a true 4-season pad. It's probably twice as warm as the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI, and the Comfort Light's R value is 3.1, earning it a solid 3 seasons. You know, it's going to be warm in 3-season camping. I definitely would not recommend it for 4-season camping. The Neoair Xtherm is much warmer. So when it comes to packing these up, again, it's not even close. The clear winner is the Neoair Xtherm. It's much easier. The Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI is somewhat of a pain to pack up and get back into its stuff sack. So who is each pad for? These pads are honestly for completely different types of adventurers, in my opinion. I would say the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI is for someone who plans on doing mostly car camping and maybe the occasional backpacking trip and wants a warmish 3-season pad that will be suitable for both of those conditions. It's just a little too big packed up for me to recommend this for people who are consistently backpacking. Although it is comfortable and it is stable, it's just too bulky for a lot of people. Now the Thermarest Neoair Xtherm is going to be for people who are camping in cold conditions, winter conditions. This is a 4-season pad and it is made for cold conditions. And its price point is going to be a bit too much to swallow for most buyers. This is really, if it fits a specific need in the sleeping pad market. Not to say you couldn't use it in all-season camping, because you can, no problem. It's just overkill for all-season camping. I would really only recommend it for winter camping. It's going to be good for climbers, mountaineers, people through hiking in cold climates, cold temperatures. It's a really comfortable pad, but it's also a very premium pad. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed our video comparing the Sea to Summit Comfort Light SI against the Thermarest Neoair Xtherm. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and share so more people like you can find it, and we'll see you out there. Happy hiking. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't know what gear to bring hiking, or maybe you've just wasted money on the wrong gear in the past, then you definitely need to get a copy of this book. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Hiking Gear, and we've created it with the total beginner in mind. It'll help you learn what gear you need versus what gear is just nice to have versus what gear you don't need. It covers everything you need to know, including how to choose each item and specific product recommendations based on your budget, gender, hiking destination, and more. You can pick it up on Amazon, and it's available in paperback and for the Kindle. Check out the link in the description below. Happy hiking!